I've been sitting here trying to think of something to say about the death of Charlie Kirk for a little while now, and usually when I comment on controversial or horrific events, I try to offer some greater insight that find some perspective that nobody else seems to have, and advocate for a higher awareness rather than just jumping on one side or the other. Um, Charlie Kirk was not somebody I had any appreciation for, any agreement with. He was very much a MAGA thought leader, and for that reason, was not somebody I thought highly of at all. Um, and yet, I find myself unable to join either of the extremist camps right now. I certainly can't join the people who uh, are jumping for joy and cheering because don't kid yourself. You have not gained anything by his death. There, he, someone else will pick up the slack. Turning Points USA will keep going. Some other MAGA thought leader will come to prominence, and it'll just go. It'll just keep going. This has accomplished nothing, and you have nothing to celebrate, no matter what you thought, how vile you thought he was. As far as but then the people who are holding him up as this martyr to the cause and a hero and all of this stuff. Although I'm sure his family appreciates your sentiments more than the alternative, the thing everybody needs to keep in mind right now is the simple reality that children have lost a father, a wife has lost a husband, parents have lost a son, and a whole lot of other people out there for whom Charlie Kirk was a person, not just a symbol, have lost that in their lives. And if I can encourage you to do anything, it is to realize that and carry that forward as the basis of your thoughts, your compassion, your decision making in the days going forward. Because we are in a very dark place as a country, and this is the latest manifestation of that darkness. And and again, it's not. It does not. This event does not shine any kind of light into that darkness. It's just expanding on that darkness. So, um, the very best thing, whatever you're feeling right now, the very best thing is to take it and put it towards human connection. I realize this is very strong for everybody, and I don't have anything of greater insight than that. One of the most something that's very comforting to me. I was not alive when it happened, but during World War II, the BBC started commissioning all kinds of different thought leaders to get to make radio broadcasts and things, encouraging things, talk about things that would be encouraging for people and uplifting during World War II and during the bombings and everything they were going through. And one of the people they reached out to do some of these broadcasts was C.S. Lewis, and to do a series of radio broadcasts talking about Christianity. And those broadcasts ultimately became his book, Mere Christianity, which many people regard as his magnum opus, and I think it's certainly one of his best. And I wish we had that. I wish we had something like that, where uh, rather than you know furthering the slow rolling steamroller that is this psychological and sociological civil war that we're experiencing in this country. I wish we could turn it back towards finding common ground and commonality and things that we could come together on as people. And I think that's just the number one insight, is how we process this. Finding a way that we can all process this together matters, rather than one group going in their corner and processing it this way and another group going in their corner and processing it this way. You know, I lived through, if I am a metalhead from the word go, and I lived through an extraordinary tragedy in the heavy metal community, which was the death of Dimebag Darrell. And, um, you know, it was something that people mourned for, and Dimebag Darrell was shot to death as well. And it was something that people mourned, but they had a commonality in terms of how they mourned. You know, Pantera was actually, Dimebag and Pantera, they were very controversial and divisive at the time. You know, they had, there were the, when it came to Pantera fans, there were the Philip Anselmo, Rex Brown Pantera fans, and there were the Dimebag Darrell and Vinnie Paul Pantera fans, and they were very bitterly divided about the split between the band. And a lot of people, and as beloved as Dime was, a lot of people resented him at the time. But the metal community, all of that resentment went out the window when the metal community realized it needed to come together and grieve over this, to get this loss together. Charlie Kirk certainly was not somebody that people in a bitterly divided, deeply ideologically entrenched culture war are going to be able to come together over. Again, like I said, there are people who are dancing in the streets and people who are mourning him as a hero. Those people are not going to be able to come together on the subject of Charlie Kirk specifically. But maybe we can start to come together as shared, as shared human people with a shared humanity. Maybe that can happen. Maybe we can. Maybe the proper way to process this is to just step back and realize that wherever you stand in this ideological divide, we are in a very dark place, like I said, and I don't know what the door out of that darkness is. I don't know, you know. I don't know where it's going. I don't know where it stops. And the thing is, neither side understands. Neither side understands that we have to share the planet with each other. Not, you know, and this is the best take of this I've done, and it's probably like the 20th take, so I'm just going to leave it at that. I just really hope we can learn to do better. That's all I've got.